Welcome back to another The Red Light Show with the hockey coach, Coach Frenchy, directly for the beautiful country of Thailand on amazing, great Sunday night, March 8th, 2026. Hopefully you change all your time everywhere on your watch, phone. Well, it's not automatic. It's not a big deal, but yeah, we change the time now. We are going to the spring around the world. Hopefully you have an amazing, great day. And ready to talk about Yo Bleu Blanc Rose, la Sainte-Flanelle, les Glorieux, le Tricolore, les habitants de Montréal, of course, about what happening the last couple of days of the trade deadline and the road trip on the West Coast. But tonight we're going to talk about something special, something never happened in Montreal Canadiens by Juraj Slafkovsky, and we're going to talk about what happening around the NHL Trade Deadline and, of course, the Montreal Canadiens and what is coming next week. And why not to do it at the Red Light Show on the special evening because we do a lot of baseball this week. So I said, you know what? We did not see him a lot the last couple of weeks. He's going to be back in the house tonight. He's not only the only one. We have a trio tonight. Mr. Marko and Mr. Enortap are in the house tonight.
Woo! Hello, Coach.
Hockey
Hello,
Nation.
Hockey Nation.
Hey,
Hello, Marko. Welcome. It's been a while.
It's been a while. Good to see you guys. Very excited to be back on the stream and lots to talk about, man. I have many opinions, lots of opinions on everything that's happened, and nobody will listen to me. My wife is sick of hearing me talk about hockey, so it's time to get back on the stream and complain with you guys. So thanks for having me back on.
And we have to set the record straight too. You know, this gentleman over here.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
I feel we didn't start yet. I feel we're going to be disagree already.
That's okay. That's part of the fun. We have to disagree to agree.
But now we fight all week, me and after that. So Marko is going to decide which side is going to be. So it'll be interesting what he's going to do about that one with it. But before we start, go to welcome many people. Ovidio is in the house. Gary Conroy, the driver, is in the house. And then we have Billy D from Nova Scotia. Stan Deman is with us tonight. Mark Elliott, de retour avec nous with Claude Richard. Welcome back, Claude Richard. M&M from British Columbia also is with us. And then we have Mr. Roger Bouchard de Vermont. De retour also with us. Thanks to be with us. Pierre Lebolio is going with what tonight? Toro is on fire. Talk about baseball. Of course, we have a great weekend baseball here at the Hockey Nation, at the WBC. We carry on. The next game is going to be Australia versus Korea tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Eastern time for all of us, for all of you. And then we're going to do tomorrow night USA, first time at the tournament. We're going to go live at USA versus Mexico tomorrow night. So we're going to carry on a couple of games until the rest of the week. And then the big weekend is honestly next round. When you're going to be at the quarterfinal, semifinal, and the final. So don't miss it, WBC 2026. And I can wait to see all of you. Rob W. is in the house. Welcome back. Mayweather, 7 games in NHL. And we have, I believe, 5 teams involved in the Atlantic Division play today. Other effect, Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa. So we have 4, honestly. But what happened? Boston lost 5-4. And overtime, come back by the Pittsburgh Penguins inside of this game. Avalanche beat the Wild 3-2 in the shootout. And just give you an idea, guys, how this work is Dallas Star beat the Chicago Blackhawks in overtime. 3 games, 3 extra time. The Lightning, guys, this is a very good game. It's still 10 minutes remaining on this game. The Buffalo Sabres lead 4-1 at some point. The Tampa Bay Lightning came back 6-4, and now the Buffalo cut the lead by 1 goal, 6-5. Detroit guys winning 2-0 after 40 minutes. This is not good news, but for the Detroit Red Wings, again the Devils, a little bit later the Blues and the Ducks play a little bit later, and the Oilers play a Golden Knight. Big game for both teams, honestly, and also for the Ducks, they want to stay in the race. The Blues, they want to be on the bottom with Chicago and Vancouver Canucks. So that's going to give you a little bit an opinion. Of course, RJ Carbo is going to give us a little bit more information on the game. We have other people. GF maybe is in the house. GF carrying also a lot of comments right there. And on that one, great jersey with the old time and a
7-4 now.
I'm sorry?
7-4 now. 7-4 now for Tampa.
7-5, yeah?
Not 7-5, right? Yeah.
12 goals. That's called entertaining, guys. You complain about Montreal, you have no goalie. Look what's going on with the Lightning and the Buffalo Sabres
that
tonight.
Doesn't win in the playoffs. That doesn't win in the playoffs.
Is hurt, right? Vasilevsky is out, by the way. So, yeah, he's out for a couple. Look at us in the house. There will be more people to complain tonight. Look, he's with us tonight. Mr. Nicholas knocked the door. Welcome back. Randy Walkman, guys, is in the house. Randy, I'm sure he was busy last week, Randy. I cannot imagine his guy not busy last week at the trade deadline with everything happening with the Calgary Flame. And I'm sure that will be interesting to hear that. Kelvin Ator is in the house. PL displayed phenomenal baseball game. On that one, yeah, I agree with you, PLW. You followed this game with me this morning, and RJ Gabro is in the house. Welcome back, RJ Gabro. We cannot wait. We have to go. We have a big night. Let's start in with the headlines. And they don't talk each other. When we do headlines, guys, nobody knows what we bring on the table between Marko and Enortap and myself. And I don't take mine versus what you do. I only do mine because what I'm thinking, so I don't change anything. But it's going to be very interesting tonight what you have to tell. I'm sure Mr. Enortap is going to smile. The first one for Marko is mystery trade for Marko. Here we go, Marko. Go ahead.
Is that the same topic that you had?
Well, it's close, so that's why.
Very close.
It's not big deal because we want to go that way, so it's not big. I didn't want to change it. I think it's perfect. But it was funny when I see that by Marko. You came the second. Enortap was the first one, so I was smiling when I said that.
I think it's probably the most interesting thing, right? We don't have a lot to talk about, obviously, with moves being made from by Montreal, obviously at the deadline. But a lot of people around the hockey universe are talking about what exactly was Kent Hughes referring to in his press conference when he said that that he had one file in particular that he spent most of the time on, and it didn't work out, but it's something that he can revisit this summer. So for me, if you're trying to read the tea leaves a little bit as to kind of what that could be exactly, and clearly it can't be Kadri, right? Because that's not something you can revisit this summer because he's already been traded. So it opens up to a lot of speculation. Great news for us who do podcasts, right? We have, I guess, all spring and summer to kind of debate and wonder kind of exactly. So thank you, Kent Hughes, for giving content creators something to talk about, because it's an interesting one, right? So I have my own theories, obviously you hope, if you were somebody that was interested in getting Robert Thomas, maybe that's something, but it could be also somebody like Vincent Trocheck, right? Somebody, we know that it was very complicated for Montreal to potentially trade with the Rangers because of the history with Jeff Gordon and everything else. So maybe that's what was complicated, because reportedly the Rangers were kind of holding on for the price that they wanted for Trocheck, and obviously they didn't get the price that they wanted. So could it be someone like Vincent Trocheck? It's hard to say, right? But obviously that piques the interest, right? It shows that it's not that they were just sitting on their hands and they're not trying to improve the team. They're just really looking for, which is very consistent, guys, with everything that they've said so far, is that they're not really looking for going and trading assets to just get kind of like a rental, or a player, like a veteran player that's going to block maybe somebody that's coming up, right? So either they're going to get somebody that fits directly into the pocket that they're looking for, which is somebody in their mid to late 20s that can come in and complement the team. So I'm sure we'll talk about the trade deadline. A lot of people were obviously very disappointed that Montreal didn't make any moves. But based on some of the prices that we saw, I can't say that I blame them too much, because some of the prices were ridiculous, right? Like when you're getting a second round draft pick back for somebody like Mike McCarron, it makes you wonder kind of what the prices were for someone like Vince Trocheck or something like that, right? So would I have liked to seen them maybe come out with a veteran right-handed defenseman that, that's a little bit more physical? Like that's obviously the thing that everybody was talking about. Again, we're not in the boardroom. We don't know exactly what happened. 7-6 now, guys, with 9 minutes left, Buffalo and Tampa. But I know, guys, we'll be talking about this one all summer. With Kent Hughes, sometimes he always reserves kind of like a bit of a mystery kind of a player that nobody was thinking about. So it could be anybody. I'm curious to see kind of what everybody in the chat thinks. Like, who is this mystery player that Montreal was targeting? And who do we think it is? But it's going to be an interesting thing to monitor during the summer for sure.
Now, 2 comments before you comment, Mr. Enortap. Maybe Randy can tell us a little bit more. If Randy, you know exactly what Marco is talking about. N26 talk about Byfield. Pierre W talk about Walstead.
Okay.
Now, Elliot Freeman said he don't want to talk about this, but he knows, something's going on. And then someone speculated Ryan O'Reilly. I don't say it's me.
I wouldn't go there.
I don't know. Like to me, the way that Elliot Friedman kind of characterized it, and so did Kent Hughes. Like he gave the impression that it was a really big move, right? Like, so to me, Ryan O'Reilly, significant move. So, Ryan O'Reilly, like, listen, like he's a good player, but I just don't like I don't think it would be characterized the same way.
I don't believe it. Me, be honest with you, if you want to ask me, I don't see that. I still believe, I don't change my mind. Montreal are looking only player between 23 to 28, extra maybe 29. But I think this is their targeting requirement. At least something changed, but this been always my thought about the Montreal Canadiens.
I just don't see Quinton Byfield like I just don't get it, right? Because LA, they already have Kopitar that's retiring. They already traded Deno. There is a rumor out there that they're going to be targeting Matthews when he eventually becomes a free agent, and that he might end up in LA eventually, right? So maybe, but like there's some other names that were circling around there, like Matthew Nyes in Toronto was a name that suddenly started popping out. Matthew Nyes would be a nice fit on the Montreal Canadiens top line with Nick Suzuki and Caufield, or move him down to the second line. So guys, like again, there's lots of different possibilities, but I would be surprised. Like even Vincent Trocheck, right? Like he's pretty much the same age as O'Reilly and Kadri, like still in his like mid 30s.
I don't think
I think that would have been a great pickup for the trade deadline because you get him for this playoff and then another year. But if you're going to do that this summer, I don't know how much that moves the needle. So I'd be surprised if it's Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah, I don't think they go that direction. I think they'll stand pat in terms of what their intentions are. We've talked about that numerous times, and I think they're not going to deviate from that. Now, it's one thing once they need just maybe a role player to kind of, or two that completes the picture, and you bring in somebody with a little bit of experience. That's a different story. But in the roster construction phase that they're in now, I think they stick within a certain age group.
Yeah. Yep. I talked about this yesterday, I believe. I don't know where I talked about this, but if you think about one thing here, I know we talk about headline, but we can move a little bit. It's no big deal. Guy, welcome back in the house. N26, welcome back also. Randy Walkman. Right and saddle. Randy talk about right and saddle.
That'd be hilarious. That'd be so
Never.
funny.
I don't think so. For Montreal, maybe somewhere else. But my point, guys, is this part. Many teams struggling with goaltender, right? If you think about this, it's not only Montreal, by the way. You have many other teams. And with consistency. Once Spencer Knight got open to make a trade, Chicago a rebuild team, no goaltender really they go pick up Spencer Knight.
Spencer Knight, yeah.
The San Jose Sharks have no goaltender. They make a trade and they get Yeskarov. My point of view is this part. The next one, I believe for me, Walstead is available.
Yeah.
Right? I think
So-
Bill Guerin want to win. And I think he did not get what he was looking for Walstead at the trade deadline. No, not that they want to trade him, but I think if you get a good trade in return, it could be out with this summer to get what they are looking for. I could be wrong, I could be right. But if you have a goaltender like Walstead, I think Montreal should consider to look about that, in my opinion, with all my respect for Fowler. Sometime if you upgrade, I think Walstead is a solid goaltender, and I think he could be something. Now, the cost would be something in return for sure, but if you trade Fowler for Walstead plus boom, 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 I think you can get. But my point is, it's rare you have the quality goaltender like that on the market. So I don't know. It's something.
Well, so just to clarify on Walstead, like what I heard anyways is it was kind of a break glass in case of emergency for Bill Guerin, because obviously they traded a lot of assets for Quinn Hughes. You know, that was the big move that they made. So I don't think they're actively looking to trade Walstead. It's just one of the only pieces that they have left. So I'm not sure that it's something that they'll revisit during the summer. You know, as we know, Minnesota's in the Central Division, where Dallas and Colorado is like loaded up, and it's kind of an arms race. You know, and you know, two of those teams are going to face each other in the first round, which is crazy. But to me, Walstead is not somebody that they're actively looking to move. It's somebody they were willing to move if they could get the piece that they wanted, which is a first line center, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for a center. So they'd be willing to move him, but they're not actively trying to move him.
7-7.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree. Oh, 7-7. Wow. That's not good. Yeah, I would agree with that, Marco. I don't think that they're actively looking for it, but you know, if they look a little bit ahead, you do have two number one goalies there, and that's very hard to sort of make both of them happy. So if they can fill a different internal need by, you know, dangling somebody like Walstead, I think that that's something that they might explore in the future. Now, I don't know if that's the situation here with Montreal. I kind of find it hard to believe, because the conversation for a return starts with Fowler and then a centerman too. You know, fill in the blank. We don't want to get into that here now, but it would cost you quite a bit. The only thing that makes sense to me about that is it would have brought in an NHL proven goalie in a critical time for Montreal, where their biggest deficit, as well as defense, is some defensive help, has been in net. We just haven't. I mean, besides lately Dobesh, Montebo has not, you know, really met the need.
Possible like that. Pierre talk about the league refuse that one over there, but at the end of the day, Chesterkin and Schneider would be a target during the summer. As you said that.
That's a lot of money though for a goalie.
But I think that's, you know, he's arguably top 3 goaltender in the league. So guys, so we'll have all summer to talk about that, right? For sure, which is exciting. But PLW is right. Like what makes it even more interesting, we're not sure if the league refused it because it was after 3 p.m. or is it because Montreal was trying to do something that wasn't in the CBA. Like we just don't know, right? But that's how close, reportedly, again, it's not confirmed, right? But a lot of the insiders are reporting that something was almost done. So when Kent Hughes says that he can revisit it during the summer, it sounds as though the other team has already agreed to this deal, but for whatever reason, they just couldn't get it across the finish line. So it would be interesting to see.
All right, sure. Let's move on. Emerson Enortap, for Marko is this one.
Well, again, very interesting that we did not talk to each other about what our headliners would be, and it seems like we're all centering around the thing. And I kind of wanted to come back a little bit and just explain, because I know Coach, he gets very animated when he gets an opinion about something. He stays on like brownie on a bone, like he's very tough. But the whole issue around the nothing equals something. I mean, there's two perspectives you could look at this from. Number one is they did nothing, obviously, and that means something in the sense that they're sticking to their blueprint, their plan. They're not going to sway away from it. They're not going to start selling off big assets to compromise for just 1 year of success or possibly two, and even perhaps even spoil the chemistry that's and the climate that's emanated here in Montreal. But on the reverse side, and this is where I kind of was a little bit, I won't say upset, but disappointed, because I know that this year, if you look at some of the games, and I did a little bit of research, and I went back just as far back as the end of November, and Montreal has 11 games that they blew third period leads, and they lost at least 1 point in each of those games. So when you add that up, plus there were two other games that I found, the one against I think it was Tampa Bay and Columbus, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember right now, but they lost 2 points in those because not only did they lose the lead in the third, but they also lost the game in the third. So altogether, you're talking about the possibility of 11 points. Now, of course, chances are they weren't going to win all of those, but let's assume they win even five of those 11. That's a 5-6 point swing that would really help them in the standings. Now, we can speculate about numbers, and we could also say that they're one of the teams that has come back the most. Fair argument. I'm not going to argue that. But what I was trying to bring out of this is I was a little bit disappointed, and I think that that's valid to say without being thought of as not being in line with being a true fan of the Montreal Canadiens. Luke, yeah. Well, no, but I know Coach was saying a lot of times, he says, if you're a true Montreal Canadian fan, we're good. We leave it alone. And Luke knows that, I have my lunette rouge here that I wear all the time, and I'm always very optimistic. I even had predicted 5 out of 6 points on the West Coast. But and I'm very happy that they came up with 3. That was a critical game that they won yesterday. It wouldn't have cost Montreal very much to get either a second pairing right-handed defenseman or even a third pairing right-handed defenseman who would help them this year right now. Because here's the thing, you can't keep throwing Struble and Jack-Eye out there and playing them for 8 to 10 minutes only, and then not being happy about the product. Because what it does in turn is it forces Marty St. Louis to put more emphasis and more playing time on their top 4 defensemen. And by doing that, by the time you get to the third period, fatigue sets in. And the other team is pushing. You have let's say a 3-2 lead. They're pushing to score, and that's when mistakes get made, when the fatigue sets in. And so, I mean, not to make much of this, but I just thought that it wouldn't have cost them very much just to get a stay-at-home, big, rugged type of defenseman within the age group. I didn't want somebody like necessarily Ristolainen or anybody like that was going to even be out of whack in terms of the salary cap. But, just a stay-at-home kind of defenseman that would have helped Montreal stabilize and box out in front of the net. Like that's become so obvious that they're allowing rebounds that the goalies give up. That's one problem. But they're allowing those rebounds to fluster around, and good teams will not make mistakes. They'll get those rebounds if they have proper body positioning. positioning that will allow them to take 2 or 3 shots. And we saw that yesterday on 2 different occasions. So that's all I wanted to point out. I think there's nothing wrong with having constructive criticism for your favorite team.
For sure.
And I know Marko and I, and correct me if I'm wrong, but on a number of occasions, we've given a general date in terms of what a rebuild should look like. And we've dabbled between, 5 to 8 years. But we've always said when the time comes, if the opportunity is there, that you can either pick up a player that fills an immediate need for the team, then and you have the assets accumulated, right? You either have the picks, you have good prospects, because you can't sign all of these prospects eventually. Number one, and so you take that opportunity.
Yeah. Like, so I'm with you. Like, so coach. Okay, so I guess maybe I'll agree with Enortap on this one, but ultimately, at this stage with Montreal. Again, Mark Elliott doesn't like it when I say this, so I'm sorry, Mark, but I'm going to kind of repeat the same analogy here. But if you compare it to a team like Toronto Maple Leafs, okay, where when they got Matthews, they got Marner, they got all these players, and the whole fan base thought, you know what, we're going to have 8 years. It's good. We have this great runway. We're eventually going to win a cup. We have all these great players. Everything is great. No. And then they made some moves, and we're not going to debate kind of what happened with the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? My only point is that a contention window can go by very, very quickly, and you never know what's going to happen.
And you Marko, never know what's going to happen. Sometimes in waiting, sorry to interrupt, but sometimes in waiting, you start taking some of those prime years away from the guys that have been here the longest, like a Suzuki.
Yeah, like Suzuki's going to be 30 in like 3 to 4 years or whatever, right? So it's going to go by quick. And you can't just assume that every season is going to go smoothly. Like, what if you get injuries one year? So, okay, now we're in our contention window. Whoops. We get unlucky with injuries one year, and we wasted one of those years, right? So I agree that, when you see an opening and you see that your team is playing well, don't get cute with it. You know how, like, here's a good analogy, right? When your power play is struggling, keep it simple, right? Shots from the point. And so, sometimes when you get too cute, you kind of like, miss opportunities or you can't finalize. I don't want Montreal to get too cute here. Like, yes, it's good to have a plan. Yes, it's good to do all that. And by the way, guys, can I just say, it's awesome to see the Buffalo rink full. Like, the rink is packed right now. The rink is popping. So I know it's tough for us seeing Buffalo kind of surge ahead of us in the standings, but it's great to see Buffalo 8-7. Have like 8-7 now. 8-7. Buffalo's winning. And guys, like it's really crazy to see because many times I would tune into their games and it was like practically empty, the place, but the rink is full of energy, so that's good to see. So, Enortap, I'm with you. Like, again, I think the prices were really high, for sure. But I would have liked to seen. I don't think it's inappropriate or you not being a fan to kind of like think that Montreal should have done something to to try to kind of give the team a chance to win this year. The East is kind of open, to be honest. Other than maybe Carolina and Tampa, which are a little bit ahead of everybody else, maybe it's kind of open, right? So you see Buffalo, you see Detroit get better. So I think there's a middle ground, right? Like I'm Libra, so I'm always balancing two things. So I don't think you needed to. I don't think you need to trade prize assets. Like if it would have meant trading a second round pick to get like a physical defenseman, because I'm with you, Enortap, like. It's something that I've been saying all season is, the mix of defensemen that Montreal has, it's not the right mix. Like they have great defensemen, but it's similar to if you have too many defensemen that are stay at home and then you don't have any puck moving defensemen, right. It's not good, right? Because you're not going to get the pucks up to the forwards and everything else. But Montreal has too many puck moving defensemen and they don't have maybe enough physical defensemen to kind of pair up with those defensemen. So I think the mix is wrong. Goalie, playing on his wrong side doesn't help either, right? So, I'm with you. Like the mix, it would have been nice to get a more physical defenseman like a Luke Shen or, like a player like
or
that.
a White Cloud. A White Cloud would have been good too.
Well, yeah, he plays on the right. He's the left shot. But obviously Calgary, I think that after they traded Uyghur and after they traded Anderson, I think they decided to keep White Cloud. I know Montreal, there is reports that they did check in on White Cloud, but I think they decided to keep him and Coleman around. Maybe Randy can kind of confirm this, but they kept some guys around to kind of like help with the younger players and stuff like that. So, who knows who was on the market. There's a couple defensemen like Royce Delainen's probably the biggest name that didn't go, that maybe was rumored to go. But apparently the price was insane. Like Montreal did check into it, but it was too expensive. So it would have been nice. I'm with you. And listen, like I said, I hope Montreal doesn't get too cute with it here, like because time rolls by really, really quickly, and before you know it, Nick Suzuki is going to be 30 years old, and his contract's going to be over, and we're going to wonder what happened. Like, where did this contention window go? It goes by quick, guys. So we're all hopeful for the future, and we're all excited about young players that are coming. But you're right. There's only so many spots for those young players, and time is not forever. You need to start moving here. But this I've been saying for 2 to 3 years on this podcast, right? Like you guys see what I've been saying about roster construction phase and all that, right? So, and I've said this before, this is the most delicate part. Pretty much a monkey could do what they did before, right? Which is trade assets away, collect assets, and then let your scouting department, kind of help you draft good players. Like that's pretty much any team can do that. But right now, the tough part is the roster construction. You can't make mistakes here. You can't kind of like misallocate some of those resources, go get a player that doesn't work. They've already kind of did that, right? Like Bolduc has not really been a good fit so far. They traded one of their bigger assets, Logan Mailloux, and it hasn't really worked out. I said that at the time on here too. I was like, I like Bolduc as a player, but they use one of their trade assets to go get another winger. Why? Yes, he was supposed to be more physical and all that, but so
and we forget also he is very young still. I mean,
for sure.
He still could work out, but you're right. For this year,
he has played.
Doesn't look like
his last few games have been very good. Like I think he's looked better after he sat out the first game after the Olympics. Like I like the connection with him and Doc. That line was actually pretty good. But all I'm saying is that it's like this is the delicate part of the operation here, guys. Like you can't really, like, you're putting together the puzzle, and this is the tricky part. Like this is the part that you don't get to do over. Like in construction, they say measure twice, cut once. That's kind of what this is, right?
Yeah. I checked all the people in the chat. People talk about David Rebacker. I'm not sure about if he's ready yet to play in Montreal, but I think that's the reason they don't trade anybody to keep David Rebacker's spot at some point. So I think that what is the reason, and the cost was too expensive, and just to rent, you better to play what you have. That's simple for me.
Yeah, like you're not going to trade Reinbacher, coach, but you wouldn't have been open. Like some of the trades, like I don't know how. Like, by the way, like I don't know if we're going to talk about the deadline. To me, the biggest move, like everybody's talking about Kadri to Colorado. To me, the biggest move was Anaheim getting John Carlson. Right? What did they pay for him? They paid a second-round pick for John Carlson.
I think it's a conditional first-round pick, but
like,
top 12 protected or something.
Yeah, so
but that's not fix your problem.
Well, it gives them a little bit of stability with their top pairing for sure. I think that was a good move too. Yeah.
Anaheim.
What was the problem for Montreal?
No, this is for Anaheim we're talking about.
Well, I'm saying, like Anaheim is pretty much in the same, technically they're a little bit behind Montreal because Montreal made the playoffs last year.
They are better. They have Kudos and they already have Trouba. So they have the fiscalité, they have the PK, and they can box out everybody in front of the net. John Carlson is not going to fix that problem. John Carlson is not a guy playing on the PK and he's going to be box out everybody in front of the net. He's going to be physical. So what Anaheim did, they pick up a guy with experience. He's going to helping them to play on the power play and helping them. Other than Jason Lacombe on the power play, Walstead, it's good, but it's not great. And Mensikov is not very good this season. So they pick up a really good quarterback for the rest of the season.
What I'm trying to say, Coach, is that Anaheim arguably, like I'm not talking about, like, I really like their core of young players. Like I would actually say they're probably a little bit better overall in their quality of their core than Montreal. That's my opinion, because I think their center depth, they have, they have Carlson, they have McTavish. So if I had to choose between two prospect pools or young cores, I would probably choose Anaheim. But putting that aside, technically Montreal is a little bit ahead of them because they made the playoffs last year, right? Anaheim, this is going to be the first time that they're going to be making the playoffs coming out of their rebuild, right? So if Anaheim is willing to buy, at this stage, to me, that's the right move. Like, it's to Enortap's point, right? Like, at some, like, when you see that your team has a chance to kind of like do something, you make a move. And so that's why, like, I'm not saying John Carlson necessarily would have been the perfect fit for what Montreal was looking for. I'm just saying,
no.
If Anaheim was willing to sacrifice future assets, like some draft picks, to make a move, why isn't it the right move for Montreal? Like,
it's because what they don't have, they got it. What we have, you don't get it. You don't improve what you have. You don't have. The Anaheim gets something they don't have. That's the difference between the Anaheim and the Montreal Canadiens. If you get a defenseman, where is going to be an excellent defenseman, is going to be very good on the physicality, and is a good top four. This player, for me, Connor Murphy, not White Cloud, but White Cloud also with Shine. You don't improve your top four. You need to have a defenseman play your top four on the right side, where you can play physicality.
Yeah, but
I will give you an example. Like, just take Ben Chariot example. Just give you an example, and let's just take him. But Ben Chariot on the right side, if he was a right shoulder, that's what I'm talking about. What you're increasing better at Carrier, put after that Cooley on the left side. That fixed the puzzle. That's my point behind that. Whoever the name you want to bring, that's what he helped the team of Montreal
went to Nashville. You don't think Montreal could have went to Nashville and tried to get somebody like Perbix or like somebody like that? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be on your, but like I said, it's the mix of players that they have right now. The only regular defenseman that they have that somewhat plays physical, is Goalie, right? But he's on his wrong side.
He's on his wrong side.
Yeah,
and I think they've gone to a point.
But again, I'm going to stop you guys.
I'm going
to stop you guys. Why here we're on the wrong side is not good. One, the Vegas, Colorado use always another wrong side defenseman, and they won the Stanley Cup.
Well, okay, I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm not saying it can't be done, Coach. I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying that there's left-handed shots that can't play the right. I'm saying Goalie shouldn't do it because he's not agile enough. He's clumsy. He gets injured all the time. His puck retrievals are not smooth enough. We see it like
you don't have to use. Why not to use Hudson?
Yeah, like if you're going to use somebody on his wrong side.
My point behind that does not matter who use, Marco. My point is, like, we can play with 3-1 like other other different team did it. It's not because we need absolutely a 3 right, a 3
no.
a 3
left. No.
Of course, the best scenario would be a 3
right now.
It doesn't necessarily need to be a right-handed guy either, but it's like I said, to me, it's not just the way they shoot, like the handedness of the players. It's the mix of players that they have right now that is not
right
work.
And right now, if you look Montreal, is in the bottom 10 in penalty kill, number one. And, it's hard. And their goals against are at the bottom
26.
of the
I
league
think
as
they're
well.
26. I think
Yeah,
they're
they're in the
26
bottom 10.
goals against. Yeah.
That's a recipe for non-success in the playoffs. It's simple.
Yeah.
So it might be something minor. You would have brought in somebody that's even a third pair defense. Like you bring in a White Cloud, he can log ice time because they've shown that they're not going to give Jack or Struble more than about 10 minutes a game. On the odd time, 11 minutes. But it seems the norm seems to be around 8 or 9 minutes. So they're not showing the confidence there. So why not bring in somebody that's going to give you 12 to 15 minutes? We'll play on the power kill, on the penalty kill, and block shots. And it's physical. Like we'll move people out from in front of the net.
So who do you remove? Goalie?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. No. It doesn't have to be. It could be Struble, Jack-Eye, like whatever you want.
No, they're all
like,
out. No, they're all out right now. So we have 6 defensemen: Carrier, Cooley, the new one.
Well, then Carrier. You need and I think somebody like a White Cloud is a slight improvement over a Carrier.
So who do you use on your top 6, on your top 4?
Well, you have on your top 4, you still have Matheson, Dobson, you have Hudson, and you can bring up White Cloud if you had him.
White Cloud is never played top 4. Why he would be a top 4?
Goalie's your 4th.
But that's not fix your problem.
Not in the long term.
It doesn't fix
Coach,
your
we're not
problem
talking
of
about
being on the wrong side.
Like again,
but
if
it does
they could
solve
get
your
it,
problem in killing penalties and blocking shots. Like, what's the biggest difference that we're missing from last year? It's a David Savard. Why are we missing a David Savard? Because he used to log time, he used to kill penalties, and he was relatively physical as well in front of the net.
So, Coach, I agree with you, right? Like in the long term, I know you really wanted Montreal to target Braden Schneider, and to me, if they could get a Braden Schneider, then it really makes somebody like David Reinbacher expendable, right? Because then you're really set, on your top 4 on the right side and everything else, right? So I get that. That's probably that would be option A, right? Is go get a top 4 right-handed defenseman that fits the style that you need. That would be option A. What Enortap and I are saying is, was there a move that would help them this playoffs? That's not a long-term permanent move. Somebody that is going to be there a year or two. He's not going to block Reinbacher. He's not a permanent solution, but just to give that little extra added element that they don't have right now. That's kind of what we're saying, right? So again, we can speculate as to who is available. Like again, I put a name out there like Perbix or a player like that, right? Like a Kovacevic style kind of bottom pairing right-handed defenseman, that kind of guy that can play 12, 14 minutes. That's kind of what we're talking about. But I agree, like the best option was like a player like Braden Schneider, or somebody like that. Or they wait for Reinbacher, but again, Reinbacher has been playing better. But I think they still want him to get some more games, down there in Laval. I don't think they're ready. We're never like, it is kind of crazy that he hasn't played one regular season game in the NHL yet. For somebody, if you look at his draft class, pretty much all the rest of the top 10, if I'm not mistaken, have already played games in the NHL. And I realize he's had some injury problems. I see Ovidio talking about Pickford. Well, Pickford is years away, and he's an offensive puck moving defenseman. He's not physical. So it's not really the type of player. Like, guys, too much of a good fit. Engstrom is kind of not really
left-handed. He's left-handed.
He's left-handed. Well, he plays right. He's played right his whole career. But again, more the style of player, right? Like, we don't need another puck moving. Like, he's an excellent puck moving defenseman, but that's not what Montreal needs. They have Hudson. They have Goalie. They decided to re-sign Matheson, which I think was a great move. But when you re-sign Matheson, that's blocking somebody like Engstrom, in my opinion, right? Like, you're not. That's his spot eventually. So I don't know what they're going to do with Engstrom. Like, I'm sure other teams have been scouting him pretty heavily, and that to me, he would be at the top of the list of players that Montreal would sacrifice, right? But it depends how much value he has around the NHL. But yeah, I agree with people here. Like, there's no room for Engstrom. I don't think. You're like, yes, you want to be able to play your bottom pair a little bit more than 10, 11 minutes. But during the playoffs, it's not uncommon for your top four to play a little bit more, right? Like, they're going to be logging. Like, look at Montreal when they made the final. When they got made to the final, their top three, the Trident, I guess, as Hockey Night in Canada likes to tell them, the Trident was that's if you don't include Kulak, but you had Weber, Sherratt, and Petrie, which was the Trident. They played, all of them played like, way over 20 minutes a game. And Edmondson, yeah. So, yeah. So, during the playoffs, it's not like you're going to roll your defensemen like equal, right? So they are good. Your bottom pair is going to play a bit less.
You play with top four, and then you have two pair after that.
Yeah.
Just to give you another idea, guys, Florida play with Kulikov, another left defenseman on the third pairing, on the right defenseman. Right. But again, you have Ekblad, Zed Jones on the right side. You have Mikela, and you have Forsling. After that, it was OEL and it was Kulikov on the bottom. And they have someone else the second year. They have another one on the 1 year was OEL. It was not OEL twice.
No, it was what's that guy's name there? That's I forget his name, but he was drafted by Vegas in the expansion draft. I can't remember his name. He went to Winnipeg.
Pokosian? No, not Pokosian.
No, he's a left-handed guy. I can't remember his name, but he's bounced around. But he was drafted by Vegas in the expansion draft, and then he's bumped around. But yeah, he was on the bottom pair for Florida, but I can't remember his name right now.
So my point is what you just said about that one with that. So anyway, we have a lot to talk about, almost 1 hour, and we did just 2 clips about that one. So, but we touched a lot of things, by the way. So it's not like we lose or anything. So I'm going to change, and I was trying to find a funny picture, but I did not find it. I was too late, but and French. My outline is in French. So comme dans le bon vieux temps. La soirée canadienne, je voulais faire une émission. La soirée canadienne is an old show before the Montreal Canadiens when they play Saturday night in Montreal in the French station on the TV. They have always old shows called La soirée canadienne. It's music and whatever they call it. And I was trying to figure out those kind of people, dress them like that, but I have no time to do it with AI. But comme dans le bon vieux temps, they put them together at the end. I think that saved the West Coast travel. We talked about this last week. Some people said be patient. I think Slafkovsky was struggling when he came back for Olympics. I think Kapanen, Demidov are struggling. And I think it was the time to do something, and he did it. And look, yeah, but we're going to talk about the number the next couple of minutes. But I think that changed, honestly. It could be the turnaround of that part for the rest of the season. He's been that way with them for 3 years now, 4 years. He played in NHL. And he took the second year. He joined the top line. And he really find who he is. And the goal he did yesterday from the wall, he picked up the puck from the wall, goes straight to the middle, guys. This is not like everybody can do it. It's not like you have to be talented to do those kind of play like that. And he really accomplished. And then that line was on fire the day before that. And then they had a very good game yesterday. And I call this.
Would you say that they had a good game, though, Coach? Would you say that they had a good game? Like,
they were outplayed.
Yeah, and like they were on the ice. Like I didn't go look to see what their plus minus was, but I think they were on the ice over the last 2 games. They were on the ice for a lot of the goals against as well.
Yeah,
right?
But you have to balance. Like McDavid will be on the ice many times. Bouchard will be on the ice again, but they're going to bring the offensive side. So without them, we lose all week. Right? Like 0 point.
Yeah. I
0
agree with
point.
that.
So for
He
me,
came up
I
what,
look
like,
about overall what they
They
bring.
were +3.
For me, I think the first game at San Jose first game, Caufield at -3, I believe.
No. Yeah.
But Slafkovsky was not with them at that night. So, look, come down both your 10. Okay, we'll see what they're going to do next week because we have a very big week next week for them. So I don't want to push hard. We have a lot of things to talk about this, but one thing we want to go, and NHL, I keep this simple, Marko, and you and Enortap on the NHL is we're going to go through that easy. The winner and the loser of the trade deadline. I put 5 teams there. I put 4 teams on the loser side. And I want you to sharing, take a team, take another thing, or maybe another team, guys, in the chat. You said, hey, no, that team was the winner for me. And you can do the same thing for another one. So it will be simple. That's the only subject we have NHL. You have a couple of injuries, but I don't want to waste our money time because we're going to go about Montreal. And we have a lot to talk about Montreal. So let's go with, and after I want to start with that.
Yeah, sure. I agree. Earlier we talked about Anaheim and having picked up a John Carlson. Obviously he's not somebody there for the long run. I just think it helps, especially Lacombe, to sort of fix that pairing up and make sure that they're ready for the playoffs. And he brings a lot of experience to the table. But I think that last minute move by Colorado to really solidify their center positioning down the middle, I thought that was quite good. You got McKinnon, you got Brock Nelson, now Kadri, and then they picked up Nicholas Roy, which I thought put him in the bottom 6. It's going to serve its purposes. He's a role player that does his job well, as long as you don't expect a heck of a lot, but. What he does well, and they're solid. And at a time when I think that Minnesota and Dallas, who one of those teams is on the list, but the other one isn't, they made some minor moves as well to try to improve. But I think Colorado just came a bit ahead of everybody else. Now, also when you talk about winners, you have to look at it from the perspective of teams that were selling. And did they accomplish their purpose? When you look at somebody like St. Louis and Toronto, I sort of I don't know. With Toronto, I would say I would give them maybe a B- in terms of what they accomplished. They still could have got rid of a couple of other pieces, or even some of the ones they did get rid of. I'm not sure that maybe they got as high value as they could have. And with St. Louis, I thought that was a little bit better, but there was so much speculation about other players like Thomas and Kyrou and a couple of others that, we know the whole debacle with Paraleko. If they could have freed themselves of that piece as well, it would have made sense. Would have freed up a lot of cap space for sure. But yeah, I wouldn't disagree with the order there, or at least the ones that are categorized under winners and losers.
I'll make it interesting. I don't agree at all with some of these. So I definitely have Anaheim and Colorado as winners. I don't have Edmonton as a winner at all. I don't think
they fixed the problem on the right side, on the defensive side of the game.
On the defense, they did.
Yeah, I don't know if they're that much better of a team, and like they paid a first round pick for Dickinson, I think. That was
He's
really,
a concerning first round pick, but a little bit heavy sure on that one for sure. But that's the price to get that one. But I think Dickinson is a good. Dickinson and Murphy is the half of the
Murphy
PK of Chicago, and Chicago was the top 3 best defensemen PK on NHL. Yeah. I think this. I think Dickinson increased. Is better to a Rinky, I think, in my opinion. And but at the end of the day, it's like Toronto and Edmonton. They are similar. Like they have players on their team, they let it go, and then they're searching for the same kind of player after that. Like I think for me, Connor Brown is similar at Dickinson at some different level. Like, they have a Connor Brown last year, Marco. I don't know why they let go Connor Brown. Like, I don't get that one.
Well, again, I really don't think Stan Bowman is a good steward of McDavid's tenure in Edmonton. Yeah, he's not his father, that's for sure. So
to me, that some of these were panic moves, right? I think I think they know that 2-year home discount deal that
it's a lot of pressure
sort of signed with him is putting pressure on to make it look like they made some moves. Like I didn't quite agree with the Jari move as well. I thought we're changing apples for oranges here, you know.
Yeah. So I don't know, guys. Like, I agree with Enortap. Like, I don't feel that Toronto's deadline was that good. Like, again, it's hard. Like when you're the seller, like, you know, like it's kind of a game of chicken, and you know, they obviously, you can say what you want about tree living, but those moves were done at the very, very last minute. So it looks like they stood their ground and tried to get the most that they could. But I think a little bit of the underwhelming return for somebody like Scott Laughton. When Michael McCarron got you a 2nd round pick, and you got, I think, only a 3rd round pick, a conditional 3rd round pick for Scott Laughton, I think they could have done better there. And then the other team that I think is missing from the winners list, I think somebody else pointed it out, is the Islanders and Buffalo, guys. Like, you don't think Buffalo?
I don't understand why the Islanders win. They pick up a center, 36 years old, for how many years? Like,
yeah. But I like it for their team because they're, you know, it's similar to what we're saying. They're rewarding their team for, you know, over kind of performing kind of what everybody thought. I don't think they paid a huge price to kind of get those guys.
The 1st round pick.
Shen was a lot. That was quite a haul that he got.
That's expensive, in my opinion.
It is, Coach. I do agree with that, and it's unfortunate, but
Buffalo, you guys don't think Buffalo should be on this list? Like getting basically a bottom pair defenseman from Winnipeg at the same time. You know, I think that was a good move.
They do bring size, Marco. I agree with that. Both Stanley and Shen. I just worry. Like I think their initial, obviously, was to go after Parayko, and I think that would have been a perfect trade for them. It would have complemented exactly what their need was. Yeah. So they went and they got some size, and they got some guys that play a little bit physical, well, quite a bit physical. And so I think it helps. If you look at their defensive core, nobody's under 6'2" on that team, on the defensive side. And even up front, they're a big team. That's hard to handle.
I would argue my criticism, I don't know if you guys remember, but I've said this about Buffalo in the past, is it's exactly what I just said about Montreal. Like, they had really good defensemen, but they're all kind of similar, right? Like, all puck moving kind of. Like, we know Dahlin can play physically, right? But it's not really his first quality. So I think this addresses just like the mix of their decor really well. So I would definitely put Buffalo in that mix. You know, Seattle. Yeah, like, I don't know. There's a lot of teams you can say that are like, I'd say Montreal are arguably losers as well too, right? Because the fan base and a lot of observers feel that they should have done something to give their team a little something here, like Enortap and I were talking about. So some people would put Montreal in the loser category because they weren't able to get something done as well.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else want to? It's a couple of conversations in the chat. I think for me, Islanders are losing, are not good on that category for if you think they are winner. I think since we win, they keep their core and they add 1st round pick in return. So that's a pretty good. Detroit and
Detroit was a good little
Islanders.
Move. Like,
but Toronto, Toronto, they got what they got asset. That's what they're looking for. Loser for me, Carolina and Minnesota. I will tell you why. Because both of them are looking for a second center, and they're not increasing what they're looking for. And now they have to go to play with Stankoven on the second center. Now they maybe move Jarvis, but still, both of you talked tonight about the window in front of us, right? The window is big this year in the Eastern Conference. They are maybe the best team in that conference, by the way. So why not to get a second center to make the next level? This may be the window of your opportunity you have right there, in my opinion. I think they completely missed. Yeah, good Delorier. I understand that, but I think the second center, the center with Minnesota, they pick up Foligno and all the McCarron. I understand that, but I think that would be better to get a Trocheck.
Minnesota for sure, just because it's clear that they put all their chips in the middle of the table, getting Quinn Hughes, and it's no guarantee that he'll re-sign. Like, let's not forget he's a unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, right? So God knows if he's going to sign. But with Carolina, in a way, you can't blame them being a little bit gun shy based on their last two deadlines, them spending a lot of assets and not really kind of having that work out with Rantanen last year and everything else. So, maybe because everybody said that about Carolina, right? Like they're a good team, but they just have they're one superstar short of kind of going over the hump kind of thing. That proved not to be the case last year. So we'll see which method works for them.
All right, we'll move on to Canadiens Montreal. You already see what I'm talking about. I want to talk about the recap of the week. Montreal was not practicing. They was traveling from California to Montreal today, and so nothing happened. So we'll be back on the ice tomorrow. You're going to hear about it. But I want to, maybe you can go around the Montreal Canadiens, what happened during the week, during the trip over there. And let's see what we got here. The road trip finished with a 1-1-1, 3 point on possibility 6. Martin St. Louis had a great press conference last night. I really like the press conference of him, Tobesh, and Slafkovsky yesterday. The perspective of how they see things. They did not lie. They do exactly what they are thinking. That was really good. I'm going to resume this, and then you can go a little bit deeper. Most of you know exactly, but maybe they bring something different of what I saw. Offense, but defense. Offense was great. We scored 14 goals, if you think about this, right? 5.
6.
5.
5, 6, and yesterday was 4.
Yeah, 14. So at the end, come back, but we cannot keep the lead. Power play, great, but the PK 5 versus 6 was not great. Then the turnover. Turnover, make them struggling a lot. Montembeault, Gallagher is Gallagher. So that said, I want to hear from all of you. Let me know what you think and give you a resume, not only one specific game, but a resume of what you think about that trip. So go to start with Marko. We did with Enortap the last one. So Marko, you can give us what you think.
Yeah, like I can't say that I was very impressed with how Montreal played on this trip, Coach. Really, like Martin St. Louis likes to use the word connected. Far from being connected. Like you said, lots of turnovers, really sloppy in their breakouts. I feel like something that I always look for is, I say it all the time, is puck retrievals. Because to me, the quicker the defenseman can kind of retrieve the puck, pivot, and move it, and like a short pass. But I feel like they're just, for whatever reason, just really struggling in the last couple of games to be connected with those small little passes to get out, and just really bad puck management situations in the neutral zone, turnovers at the blue line. I could just think of Caufield on that one, when you could see his reaction after they came back and scored. Like, sorry, I yawned first, and now it's contagious, Coach. But just lots of like puck management issues. And Martin St. Louis, I just find it weird because St. Louis said that coming out of the Olympic break, that's exclusively kind of what they were focused on, is cleaning up the defensive game. And I just found that it's even worse than it was before the break. So definitely a bit of a concern there. Like, you can talk about Monty, like, man, like it's those long shots. Like he gives
Doesn't
you a
cut.
little bit of everything, right? Like he'll make like incredible saves. Like he'll save probably a couple shots that he shouldn't save, and then he lets in like maybe two that he should have had, right? And usually long shots is kind of really what's crippling him this year. And I think I mentioned this before, like Steve Valaket, who is sometimes on the Kyprios and Bourne show or whatever there, and he has his own analytics company. But I remember watching a segment where he talked about, and this is like last year, where he was like warning people about Montembeault and that like overall the numbers are good, but his ability to see pucks through traffic was one of the lowest in the league, and that that was going to maybe catch up with him, and he was right. Like that's absolutely catched up with him this year. So it's something that he needs to continue to work on. But um, I don't know, Enortap, if you're referring to the same thing I saw. I think it was on the Arpin and Basu podcast where um, um, I think one of them brought up like their record 6-on-5 over the last like 11 games or whatever. Like Montreal is the team that I think they played the the most minutes 6-on-5 this season out of any team, which in a way is good. It's a good metric because it shows that they have the lead, right? And teams are pulling their goalie, but their save percentage 6-on-5 is by far the lowest in the NHL. So you can talk about
part of that. I think Marco is the fact. Okay, they have this hybrid defensive structure, man to man with zone. So when you go to 6-on-5, it's much more complicated. It isn't as easy as a 5-on-5 or even killing a penalty. So I think they just haven't adjusted well to that, and that's why they're probably blowing a lot of the leads. And they get, because they don't have puck possession, like the opposing team has the puck in their end zone for a minute and a half at stretches of time, and the defense gets worn out. They don't have a chance to change, and that's when mistakes are made.
Yeah, like it's almost like a broken record, right? Like and it's to our point earlier about having a defenseman that can clear the net, because it's always like either it's somebody like Anders Lee or somebody like that that's going to go in front of the net and kind of just get in the way, and they're getting those kind of like ugly goals to tie the game, right? So definitely a pattern there. To me, some other concerns on the road trip is, like, I think Coach, you mentioned it before, like Kapanen and Demidov, just really not a really strong road trip at all. Like so much that they had to move Slaf off that line. And on the other side of that, Newhook, I think, has come and like quickly kind of found his groove right away. Like you figured it would have taken him a little bit of time to kind of get it, but it seems like he didn't miss a beat. I think he's probably one of Montreal's best players on this trip, honestly, and definitely deserved to get a look on the second line. So good for him. Like Newhook, he was having such a really, really strong start to the year before he broke his ankle. So it's really good to see him come back and do that. What last thing I'll say, guys, and I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but I really don't like the Danault, Gallagher, and Anderson line together. Like they can spend some time in the offensive zone, like cycling pucks, but I just don't know if that's working. Like to be honest, like I would have liked to seen actually Newhook go on with Danault and Anderson. That would, to me, like that line would have a lot of speed and really be able to kind of be like a really good shutdown line with a little bit of offense to it. I'm just not seeing I think overall, like the advanced numbers don't really look super good for that Danault line. Now that I've had a chance to see Danault for about 15 games, I guess, since he's been back, definitely you can see that he's lost a little bit of a step, right? So
Speed,
yeah, so definitely a little bit of a I
touch.
can't say, yeah, and like he's like, there's definitely been some good moments for him, like he won some faceoffs, but he's definitely lost a lot of key faceoffs too. Like that's why he's there, right? Is to win key faceoffs. And I'm not sure why they continue to have Evans and Danault together on the same penalty kill unit, it's not working. Like I can see why they would have tried that, because on paper it seems like it would be a really strong pairing on the PK, but it's not working for whatever reason. I'm not saying that they should scratch Goalie. I'm just saying that maybe move him down to the.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
I think
the only reason they don't, I don't think, is because of his mini iron streak that he's got going. So I don't know if that's a good reason. Like, we're putting personal accomplishments ahead of the team accomplishments or needs. Well, if we think in that direction, I don't think it's the right thing. Like, we're not seeing much. I love Gallagher, you know that, and he's brought so much, and he's a spark plug many times, but the problem is he can't consistently bring it.
This week, like, I think Montreal has the next set, like they have 3 back-to-back sequences, I think, coming up, right? So
2.
They're going to be playing. Right. I thought it was 3.
But 3 this weekend. So that's 3 with this weekend. So I apologize if you want to go there, but
yeah. So they have 2 more coming up. So, like, is it time to at least kind of curb his minutes a little bit? If you don't want to kind of embarrass him, and I get it. Like, he's like, I'm not saying they should scratch him. Like, I think just you play him for like 10, 11 minutes, maybe. He should definitely not be seeing the second unit power play anymore. Now that Doc and Newhook are back, like, that experiment's got to be over for sure. So, I think they just need to kind of scale back his minutes a little bit. And to me, like, I really like the. Okay, that's good. That's good. So I really like again, early days here, but I kind of like the look of the Evans.
If you remove Gallagher, I apologize. Personally, you could bring me an ID, but if you remove Gallagher on the power play, who do you put there? Like, what would be your next player go there? What? Because I have an ID, so this is what I bring to you. But
well, second unit. So you have, like, up front. You have, for sure, you've got Doc, Newhook, Budzik, on your second unit. You've got Dobson.
Okay.
And then you can look at, you can go 2 defensemen, because usually it's not a bad idea to have 2 defensemen on your second unit, because it's going to be the shorter. Now
you reach my point of view here. So what happening, I think it would be better to have Madison there at the top. Yeah. Use a slap shot of Dobson one-timer over Doc. Put Doc in front of the net, right? And then put Newhook on the other side. If you want to keep him on the bumper, I would prefer to have Budzik there and Newhook on the left side. That would be my best. My best. Yeah. So it would be my next one I would do there. And like you said, you have 2 defensemen. So I think that'd be the smart things to do, in my opinion. I don't see Anderson, Evans go there after that. So I don't know for you. That would be my point of view.
If you wanted to, like, on the second unit, let's say, for example, for whatever reason, the first unit was just on the ice before and you have to start with your second unit, you could put Deno just for the face-off and then have him come off or whatever and just go net front, and then only have Dobson. That's another, because it's so critical to win the face-off, right? So you could have Deno come in, take the face-off, get off. If it's, you could double shift Suzuki or Caufield or whatever, right? But if it's the second unit coming in with 30 seconds left.
I understand your point of view. If you have a face-off at 20, 30 seconds, that makes sense anyway, for sure about that. It's a lot of people is 50-50 in the chat about keep him or not keep him. About that, but overall,
Patrick Laine?
we cover.
What about Patrick Laine on your second unit there, guys? No, you don't wanna...
I just don't think he's gonna ever play again unless there's multiple injuries on the team. I just don't see.
Never say never. Never say never.
I know. Yeah. You're right. It's just a feeling. But
and after you want to add something on that?
Yeah, I was just going to add, really, like, when you look at yesterday's game, I concur with Marco in that I thought we were outplayed. I thought Marty St. Louis referenced that after the game, and he was very honest about it. But sometimes you have those kind of games, and therein lies the difference when you have somebody like a Dobesh in net that can come up with a critical point at a key time in the game, and then afterwards, they were able to translate it to two quick goals in the third period. But early in the game, like the Habs were really struggling to get out of their own zone, and
One
that was
shot,
due to
one shot in the
one
first period.
shot, 16-1, I think it was. But that's due to LA's aggressive forechecking that kept them pinned inside their own zone, which
I don't
they
know
like
about
to
that.
do, and they pile. That's why they piled up so many shots. But in the third, I thought the key thing here, I thought third period was a little bit better, but they made some changes. Right, I thought that they made quicker first passes out of the zone. Instead of the defenseman holding on to the puck and looking for that perfect breakaway lane, they started moving the puck a little bit more and immediately in the first open to try to find the first open forward that was available. And this does two things, right? Like I think it prevented LA from setting up properly in their forecheck because I think they play, if I'm not mistaken, a very structured 1-2-2 style forecheck, and they try to ensure that you don't come out of your own own zone very quickly, and it allowed Montreal to transition to offense a lot faster, and we saw that even in the tying goal. There was a beautiful play made. I forget who it was on Montreal that was able to get the puck and off to the races. Slafkovsky went with Suzuki, and it translated to a nice goal there. So I thought that it worked really nicely, and it got them out of that trap that the LA Kings had set them up for in the
So
first
one
couple
thing,
of periods.
so Enortap, like it's kind of like a chicken or the egg question to me. Like it's not to discredit LA's pressure game or anything, but I just think to my point, like next, like if they don't change anything, like just watch, like next time you watch their decor Montreal,
Yeah,
watch how efficiently they're able to retrieve the puck. Like it's just like they get there, the puck, they arrive to the puck, and instead of handling it cleanly, they take that extra second, they bobble it, like just it's just like lack of concentration or lack of execution retrieving the puck, and
yeah,
it allows the pressuring team that extra split second to come in and add that pressure, right? Sometimes, like they just it's bad puck management. Like they'll put it back to their partner, not kind of pass it hard enough so that the guy gets it too late. You have like a couple times, especially turnovers at the blue lines where the forwards are putting the defensemen in like really tough positions, like almost like suicide passes, like giving them passes where they have no chance to do anything with it, and then it causes turnover. So puck management, and I think that they're making other teams look like even Anaheim. Like we know how much skill Anaheim has, but they made Anaheim look even better because of very, very poor puck management and just overall execution when it comes to breaking out of their zone. Like that to me was
yeah,
the biggest problem so far in their play is that like the turnovers in the neutral zone and inability to kind of like cleanly retrieve the puck and make simple plays to get out. Yeah, like we're talking about being too cute earlier. It's not just about being cute. Like they don't seem concentrated and they seem a little bit off. So they need to pull it together quick here, guys, because it's not assured that they need to continue to collect wins here if they're going to stay out front for this wild card or potentially to be in the top half of the Atlantic Division.
So, what do you do this week for back to back? You keep Montembeault back to back this week?
Yeah, I don't think I think he has a shorter leash for sure. Like if he starts letting in shots from the point again, like every third time, then
Do you
maybe
start
you gotta
Dobesh Tuesday or you
so
start
refresh my
Montembeault because you go
who,
and then
who they
Toronto
playing?
and Ottawa, right?
interval?
Toronto and Ottawa this week.
I would,
Yeah,
yeah, I think so.
yeah. So
Let
I
me
would
just
probably start Monty against Toronto, and I would do Dobesh against Ottawa. because Toronto is right now is not playing very well. So, and there's always two philosophies, right? Like, do you play your hottest goaltender against the team that you think you have the best chance to win to make sure that you get those 2 points?
So Tampa won with Vasilevsky against the bad team, and they used Owenson against Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, it depends on your philosophy, right? Sometimes you're like, you know what, like we like our chances of winning this game. Let's go with our best lineup and not leave it to chance. For me, I would start.
Yeah, but by the same token, just because it's a back-to-back, I know ideally you'd like to do that, but I think they have 2 days off before they play. I don't know. I think it's San Jose on Friday or Saturday. So if they had to go, and at this point, you have to ride Dobesh. He gives you the best chance to win, and you can tell the team plays a little bit more confidently in front of him. If you have to go with Toronto and Ottawa, you go with Dobesh. Ride him.
Nah, like Toronto's playing. Have you watched any Toronto games? They are playing really bad. They're pretty bad. Yeah. So if there's any opportunity for you to get Monty in over the next 4 games, it's against them, right? Because San Jose, we saw what they look like. Anaheim, we saw what they look like recently, and we know how big like Ottawa. Like all 3 of those teams are on a heater right now. They're playing really good hockey. So I would try to save them as much.
Again, my only point is they have 2 days off prior to these 2 games, and then 2 days off after. So really, it's not a huge expectation to say, hey, you know what? They do it in the playoffs.
But Dobesh, we know
your starter and you go with it.
Yeah, but if you look at Dobesh, guys, like he plays better when he's not overtaxed either, right? Like if you look at his record, like he plays much better when he's had a little bit of rest as well. I don't know. For me, like again, like Monty is again, like there's you get maybe 1 out of every 4 starts from him that are good. So you hope that he's had 2 stinkers in a row here a little bit. So you hope that he can just have like a decent game against Toronto. Again, this is gonna like you're gonna need if you're gonna ride Dobesh. There's a lot of hockey here coming down the stretch. So I'm not sure I'm front loading him with that much work when you're really gonna need him down the stretch.
The good thing after this back-to-back with Toronto and Ottawa, they don't have any back-to-backs, and they always have at least 1 day off in between games. So if they really want to ride Dobesh at that point, I think that they have to. Like, there's no ifs or buts about it.
He's unproven, right? Like he's never played that much hockey all in a row at this level, so we'll see how it goes. Like,
isn't that what we were saying about Montebo last year? And he pretty much got us into the playoffs.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like, but Dobesh did come in and play a decent amount of games, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, do you really want to kind of like ride one guy into the ground, in this important stretch, right? So I think, listen, like you hope that Monty can put it together, but if he's still playing at the same level, you have to try to sneak him in here and there, and I think Toronto is the right opportunity to do that. But we'll see kind of what they decide.
Do you think at some point they bring up Fowler for a few games?
I don't until Dobesh. I think if Dobesh for whatever reason started to not play well and Monty was playing like this, I think they would. But I think because at least one of them is playing good hockey right now, and it's not perfect. Like like Dobesh had a really strong game in LA. There's no question. Like there's no way Montreal even comes close to winning that game without Dobesh. He is to me the number one star of that game. Like no question.
Yeah.
But there was that. I forget. It was against San Jose that there's a couple. It was Celebrini. That Celebrini shot. The one where he let it in from pretty far, 5-hole. Like so he's not perfect, right? But like he's definitely giving them a much better chance to win than Monty. Yeah, so he's like I call it the Grant Fuhr style, right? Like win 6-5, just make the last save. I don't know if that's really a winning formula long term, but Montreal needs to bank points. And like I said, I think overall if they can just cut some of those like turnovers and be a little cleaner in their own end, I think that will help a lot, right? Because again, it's not just save percentage guys, like it's the quality of chances. You can say that overall, Dobesh, I'm assuming his save above expected is probably better than Monty. I haven't looked in a long time.
Probably.
But just from an eye test perspective, like I said earlier, Monty seems to make saves that he shouldn't make, but there's at least 2 goals a game where he's got 2 goals where you should have definitely stopped it. With Dobesh, it doesn't happen as much. So I know it's not a very scientific way to look at it. I haven't looked at the numbers in a while, but that's just the eye test for me with him.
Now, have you noticed, Coach? Have you noticed with Dobesh, the one thing that's kind of concerning me is his glove. For some reason, he has difficulty with it. Have you guys seen that as well, or am I just out to lunch on this one?
He has problems kind of catching and holding on to pucks for sure. Like I'd say that he's like, the biggest criticism for Dobesh from us, I think we all agreed, was he's a little too busy, a little too aggressive at times. I think since Marco Marciano, I think that's his name, is the new goalie coach. I think he's kind of like stopped drinking like 10 Red Bulls before the game. Like he just looks a little bit more composed out there overall. But it's he's a little too energized at times. But I feel like his rebound control is still probably the biggest thing, other than his busy feet, and his out of control kind of play a little bit. So I agree. Like he has problems catching the puck with his glove, and overall just with his rebound control, sometimes it can be a little bit erratic still. But he make everything I just said. He often makes up for that with his athleticism and with his size, right? Like he's much out of Fowler and Montembeault. He's what, like 6'5", Dobesh, so he's by far the biggest one of them.
Yeah,
just covers a lot more real estate than the other 2 guys. So I'm with you, Enortap. Like they need to ride Dobesh, but it's to what extent? And I think you're still going to need Monty down the stretch here. You can't ride Dobesh all the way.
Very great comments in the chat, guys, left and right. Disagree, agree. It's good to hear all of you. Thanks, everybody. Don't forget to click on the likes. Meanwhile, I will say to you, you start with Dobesh Tuesday. And if you have a good game and you don't have a lot of shots, like 40 shots, 50 shots, I go back with Dobesh again Wednesday. And then I give a game Saturday to Montreal, and I return with Dobesh again Sunday to complete that one with there. It's funny because Dobesh, in the last 4 years, and since he played in NCAA, he's been played 50 games, 60 games per season. He never been rest. He never been on the bench. He never be backup number 2 or sit many games. So, in my opinion, I would use him. No doubt in my mind. It's not the physicality of that situation. He's going to be rest since like Saturday. He's going to be travel home Sunday. Does not play Monday, and then Tuesday you let him play, and then a good.
If you're going to play Dobesh back to back, why wouldn't you do it against the California teams and let Monty play the weakest team out of all 4 of them? I just don't understand.
You play one of the 3 games, or you don't play Dobesh back to back again this weekend. You gave 1 game a month ago. You don't want to let your backup goalie on the 2 weeks off.
That's what I mean, though. So if I understood correctly, you're playing Monty back to back against Toronto and Ottawa, and then you're playing Monty. So
it's because Atlantic division. It's Atlantic.
But we're not competing.
Eastern Conference.
They're 4-point games. Yeah.
Not against Toronto. Ottawa, yes.
No.
Sure.
Yeah,
not
Ottawa,
Toronto. Not Toronto. Yeah. So that's what I mean, right? Like, anyways, that's just my opinion.
I understand your point of view about that, but that would be that one there. And then you can realize this weekend, and you know what? If you think you need it this weekend and you have another good game, let's move on with it again. After that, guys, we have a really easy schedule until April You have another 2 back-to-back, but it's at the end of the month. So you have a couple of games now. You can sharing that, but you minimize most the game with Montembeault, because what happening right now, guys, and I could be wrong here, but right now the players have no confidence in Montembeault. Like they don't believe on it at all. Like it's inside the locker room, and of course on the mic they were going to said, yeah, we believe on him, but you can see the body language. Like you can see that, and you can tell me, every time Tobesh is in net, he has the most support offensive by his team, right? But you know what? That's good, because the players they believe on him and they go all the way. So for me, that's a pretty good. You can see negatively if you want to see that, but because he get lucky. But you know what? He compete. I prefer to lose with Dobesh than losing with Montembeault. That's simple. Right. And
it's the body language, and you can tell Montembeault's not confident in himself, and so he gives off that aura. Like you wonder, okay, next. I mean, that game, was it against Anaheim or San Jose, where first shot of the net, he allows the goal, and then they call it back, and then the next shot they score. Like, that's got to be demoralizing for everyone.
It was against Anaheim. Yeah,
Anaheim. Yeah.
Like it's not great, guys. Like I admit, like, I thought eventually he was going to pull it together to kind of like at least, kind of give them average goaltending. But it just really hasn't happened for him this year. It's what do they call it, Enortap, like in sports, like when you get the yips, like when athletes get the yips, remember, I think probably the most famous case of that was the gymnast there, the Nicole Biles, like for the gold, that won all the gold medals. She just had a case of the yips. You just get into your own head, and that's, as we know, coach, like you've coached players before, and it's all like 80% of the game is mental, right? So it's a very hard. It's a very hard thing to kind of like we've seen that Montembeault can kind of do the job, right? Like he has I just feel he plays so deep in his net right now because he's just not confident. And it's a very hard thing to battle when you're battling your own confidence like that.
Mark, Luc Laforcé have a question. He said that we never asked him, he never said that, but I'm sure he said we forgot about this. Never forget I was still on the subject. He said, what do you think about the Philippe Danault trade? An evaluation ranking by letters, A, B, C, or plus, minus, about Philippe Danault and Enortap. How you consider that trade for you?
Well, I think he gave him some stability up the middle. That's one thing. Number two, I mean, he came back to a situation that he's familiar with. That's important. They needed his role in terms of winning faceoffs. I thought that was essential. You can't always rely just on Suzuki, and I think he's been good. I think he's close to about, I'm just going on top of my head, but around 57, 58% since he's been here. You knew you weren't going to get much offense out of him, and you knew that his speed is nowhere near what it used to be when he was first here and in early years with LA. But he's got a role, and I think so far he's done a decent job. Has he made mistakes? Yes, he has. But overall, I think it did help to solidify that spot a bit.
So I'll answer your question in two ways, Coach. I evaluate the trade. I think the trade itself, like the idea of the trade and doing it, I'll give it a B plus. Like I think it was the right move to do, and it's not a huge risk because he only has one more year after this year, and I think that's fine. But I will give his play like a C minus or like a C since he's been there. Like again, I think he's definitely
that's fair.
Yeah. So I think overall, again, he's won some critical draws. Like there's a couple of like draws that he won that directly contributed to wins. Like I think of that Slafkovsky winning goal or whatever he won. There's some, definitely like Montreal has gained points directly because he's been in the lineup. So in that sense, it's good. But overall, like I just feel like he definitely not the same player that we knew before in terms of, and like we talked about a couple times, just his foot speed overall. And like I just feel like I don't know. Maybe it's a confidence thing, but like there's lots of times where I've seen him like he has the opportunity to like go to the net or something like that, and he just makes the wrong decision, like overthinking his play with the puck, like in the offensive zone, and a little bit underwhelming on the penalty kill so far. I don't know if that's necessarily
I thought he would really help with the PK.
I thought, yeah, like because that to me that's whether they face-offs, left-handed shot, and PK. But one thing that maybe we need to talk about, and I haven't really deep dived into it, but what is wrong with Montreal's PK? Is it the structure? Are they too passive? Like,
They're passive.
I know goaltending is a big part of it, but something like, because again, you can't say it's just because they don't have Armia that they're that much worse than last year. You know, like we knew that it was going to take it.
Number one, the speed there, Marco. The speed isn't there as it has been in the past on the PK, and they're also being a little bit more passive. You notice that teams that circulate the puck very well, the defense and the two forwards start to collapse, and that opens up all sorts of lanes. Like they really, at the point especially, I think they have to be really aggressive on the puck and just try to force them to make an ill-advised pass, and they're not doing it right now.
Montreal used to be really like Evans and Armia when they played together. What I really liked about them is how much they pressured the puck, like while the puck was being broken out. You know, like they put a lot of pressure in the other, like before the team, before the team was able to bring the puck in. And I feel that there's not enough down ice pressure on their PK. Like they really sit back and let them kind of gain the zone a little bit easier than they used to. And that's a big game changer, right? Like if you can stop them from kind of setting up, that really helps. But to me, like Coach, you like our Habs Hump Day shows that we kind of stopped doing a little bit. Maybe I'll come back and do one more with updated stats and everything. But that was the biggest thing.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that was the biggest thing that we were going to follow. Like we knew they were going to be a good offensive team. We wanted them to be top 10 for power play. We knew that they were going to be top 10 offensively, but we needed their goals against and their PK not to drop off. So it's great to have your goals go up, but you needed to improve your goals against and your PK, or at least keep the PK where it was. I think they finished 11th on the PK last year, and right now they're 26th or something like that.
26.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, they approximately 5% less or 4% less what they have last season.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
For me, it's really the Savard. When you talk about Armia, I think for me, Savard. Why? Because Savard was covered really well on whatever it was slow. He was covered well the right side of this part of this one, and by the way he was playing, he would cut a lot of pass, or he will cut the less chance for the Montreal Canadiens. And every time for me, another difference for me, I did not check the stat. Usually, goaltender perform better to stop the puck in front of the net on the PK between that, right? The stat of Montembeau, I'm sure, but the Torbes would be interesting to checking how much is it. But I think they gave a lot of goal from the inside and from the net. Like they gave a lot of goal, like just right there. So they're not good enough on the rebound example or box the player in front of the net under the stick. I see many go like that too. I think that's the biggest thing about aggressive or passive. I think it's more awareness, I would say to you. And then from Savard to go to Carrier, it's just like there. It's like a big, huge difference right there. I think that's most physicality or Carrier versus Savard, right? Savard, how he played, he was smarter, like experience-wise. So I think this is for me, I understand Armia, understand Dvorak, but I think Savard is the biggest problem on the PK right now. They cannot fix that situation right there. And at some point, they need to fix that. Not like a lot, but if you think about this, right, if you study Chicago, it's Murphy and Vlasic, and it's Dickinson and Mikheyev. It's not like top best player, and then it's, you know what I mean? It's not like the best of the best, but they well done. They sync together very well. And that's what, the size. Murphy 6'4", Blazek 6'4", 6'5", good stick, everything like that. And I think this is another problem. Like Carrier is 5'11", Savard is still 6'2" maybe. So he's like, you know what I mean? Like this sick. You said no, but that it is. That's very important about that. So at the end of the day, this is the biggest problem they have to fix until the end of the season to improve that quality of the special team. But otherwise, cannot complaining overall about what is going on with the Montreal Canadiens.
Maybe, Coach, they should have. I don't know if you saw, but during the Olympic break, Savard was practicing with some of the guys, like the goaltender. So maybe they should have signed Savard as the backup goalie instead.
Yeah, maybe on that one over there, but we'll see what he's going to do. I want to bring you guys because honestly, we were the subject tonight. I was this one over there, and then I will bring this with what happening for the Montreal game the last couple of days, a couple of games, and that will follow up on what we just talked. And then we have a clash of predictions, so I don't want to miss it for all of you too. I think it will be fun. Juraj Slafkovsky, nobody did it in the history of Montreal Canadiens. He is the first Montreal Canadiens player under 22 years old with 3 seasons of 50 points with the Montreal Canadiens. So nobody did. Guy Lafleur, Maurice Richard, Jean Béliveau, name it. They never do that. He's going to turn 22 March 30 at the end of the month. So he did it. He got, and this season, Juraj Slafkovsky, he did 23 goals, 29 assists, 52 points. He had 5 points in the last 2 games, 11 power play goals. I think this is a big chance for him. And all those numbers is his highest number in NHL for that month, for him. So I'm laughing right now because where I live in the country, right? I live in the jungle. So they still have those kind of big truck with a big speaker in the back of the truck announce something.
Watermelons and apples.
It's not like loud. It's just like that. I feel like the truck just passed in front of my desk right now. It's just like it just blew my mind how it's just crazy. So I'm talking and I can hear in my back like he was talking. But anyway, Slafkovsky guy did it. Look, you have a lot of time. I don't want to go there. I don't want to be negative. People was talking. He was a boss. He was not good. He was not this. Was this. But he took him 3 years, finally, to be who he want to be. And it's just the beginning for him. It's just going to get better and better and better. And we have to give credit for him. The young kid, he did it. And he did it in the Olympics. Now he's going with the Montreal Canadiens. And I think it's good for him to go back with the first line. I think he would go there with more belief. I don't know if it's the right expression I would say to you, but I think now he's not going to be shy. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like, you're 19 years old, play with Suzuki, Caufield. I'm going to give the puck more. I think he proved it this weekend. Does it make sense? I don't know. They have maybe a better word. Marco, you want to express this one, but
taking more shots.
Right.
Well, it's like, I think the word is like to defer to the two guys more. We'll see, right? Like, there's certain points, guys, where we were arguing, like, you know, at sometimes Slaf was with the one driving that line, Suzuki and Caufield, right? Because of being able to win battles. And like, so there are times even before where he was driving that line even more than Suzuki and Caufield. I don't know in the long term if I like it, because again, like, I like the idea of having a little bit more depth throughout the lineup. So I think the best Montreal's looked all year was when that second line was working, right? Like yes, the second line or the first line wasn't producing as much, but like if you look at it just logically, guys, when is the time this season that Montreal looked the best? And to me, it's when Slafkovsky, Demidov, and Kapanen were also playing well, right? You had a bit of a rotating cast of characters. I know a lot of people didn't like Kirby Dach on the first line. I would have given it a little bit more time, to be honest. Like, you know, I think Dach has played, like, I know there was that really, you had that bad game where he had that turnover in the offensive zone that led to the winning goal, and that was a kind of a lazy play. I get it. But overall, like I think Doc's been playing okay, like pretty good even. So I would have maybe tried that a little bit longer. I get that going to the nuclear option is very tempting to have that top line. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it if you're trailing, going into the third period or something like that. I just, with the amount of games that Montreal has here down the stretch, Montreal is a team that has to have more than, they can't just be a one-line team. They have to have depth.
They'll be checked in the playoffs closely, very closely.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I think with, since they weren't able to go get somebody to really augment that top six, I still think that they're better off. Like, to me, Slaf looked the best this season when he was driving his own line with Kapanen and Demidov. The biggest problem is, one thing that we haven't talked about, guys, is Demidov.
Kapanen.
That's one thing that, well, Kapanen is still doing his thing, right? Like, he's still responsible defensively overall. But Demidov to me has not looked super convincing. Like, he's still, the good thing is that he's still working hard. Like, he's winning a little bit more puck battles along the walls, things like that. But I don't know what it is. Like, I thought he was, last season when we saw Hudson get super energized coming after the Four Nations break, I was kind of expecting the same thing for Demidov, right? Like, having a little bit of time off. He came back early. He was practicing. He was excited to go. But I don't know what it is. He's just looked a little bit off since
Marco. He's doing exactly what you claimed earlier about Slafkovsky when he was deferring to the other two players, Caufield and Suzuki. And he's got to get that mentality to go to the net a little bit more. Like, he's got an excellent shot. He's got great hands, and he can set up plays as well. So bring all the tools to the table. And once he gets that confidence, you're going to see a different player. But overall, it hasn't been too bad. Like 48 points in what?
Yeah, I'm not like overall, like I'm not saying it hasn't liked his rookie season. Like, overall, it's been a good rookie season. I'm just saying, since the return of the Olympic break, like I said, with Hudson last year, we thought, like, it's not every year. Like, usually rookies hit a little bit of a wall, especially ones that haven't played in North America, like that haven't played like full 80 game schedule or whatever. So I thought it was going to like breathe a little bit of like a second wind into him, but we just haven't seen it yet. I don't think it's an energy thing. I think it's just maybe like a mindset thing or a confidence thing. I'm not sure, but I'm sure he'll get out of it. But the only reason I bring it up is because Montreal is going to need, like I said, I like the look of that Evans, Doc, and Budzik line. Like, I think there might be something there. And it'd be great if Budzik can actually start producing, but he's been a little bit more visible out there and being a little bit more physical, which is good. So we'll see. But again, Montreal, if they're going to be successful, they need to be able to count on some depth, and they can't just rely 100% on the first line to produce all the offense. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I think it's just a time right now, just like Demidov, Kapanen right now just hit the wall like as a rookie. I think they're going to reset. I think Demidov played better the last two games like he did the last many games. Kapanen is just right now to find a way to be a little bit more responsible. But Martin Louis realize, you know what I mean? Like, Martin Louis, I don't know because he played in the NHL, maybe, but, it's something happening, guys. He gave us, we have a super chat, guys, Mr. Slay. Montreal is the problem, is just a matter of time until Jacob Fuller is brought back up. Slay, get the first goal of the game, guys. Welcome to the chat. First time I believe he is with us. And thank you. Here we go. We have a super chat. Cheer, my friend Slay. And good comments about that. We appreciate a lot. We're going to get an assist on that one. On this one, going to get an assist to Billy D. Iggy, all back on the line tonight. And great play. All of you to do that. A lot of good comments about that. So we see what Kapanen, what he's going to do. I don't want to finish with that part, guys, if you don't mind. And there you go. The next one, guy, is Nick Suzuki. Nick Suzuki, last 15 game, he has 24 points, 9 goals, 15 assists. Last 4 games, he has 9 points. Meanwhile, Cole Caufield, 16 goals in the last 15 games for him. Look, Suzuki have a monster post formation. Do you believe he can repeat the same thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, just when you think he's out, he comes back and he just responds in every aspect of the game. He's such a complete hockey player in my eyes. Can he improve in some areas? Possibly, but overall, I think he makes a good captain. He's efficient. He makes players around him a lot stronger as well. And I just think that this not the Four Nations, but the Olympics really helped his cause. He's come back just as strong. So keep it up. I think Suzuki's up for another great year. If you look at his last 5 years, Coach, I think you showed it once. He is on a definite linear progression. Like sometimes you see a player dip back a year or so, but he's been solid every single year.
You're right about this. I don't. Go ahead, Marko.
Do you guys want something? I just want to say, do you guys want a Jonathan Drouin update? Wearing number 92 with the St. Louis Blues, just scored his first goal as a St. Louis Blue. Back to number 92 for. Yeah.
There we go. He's back now. This kid getting his point, but I find sometimes he look nonchalant from Luc Lafortune about Nick Suzuki.
Before we move off Suzuki, I don't know if you saw I think he said this in an interview, and you can notice it, but the one thing he said that he learned from the Olympics is that he does, and this is something we've talked about before, is his pace. Sometimes we know that he's a thinking hockey player, right? And he likes to conserve energy. He doesn't overextend his energy. And so sometimes that can look lazy, but he's just very calculating, right? Like that's his style, is he doesn't waste energy just to kind of he's not it's not cardio that he's doing out there, right? He's not just kind of skating as fast as he can just to look busy. He's very calculated. But with that being said, I think he realized that, and you can see it at some points, like his pace at critical times has gotten a little bit better. So, which is good because it shows us that he has the capability of having higher pace, but that's the key to his game, right? Like there's a reason why Suzuki hasn't got injured, knock on wood, in his career, is that he's smart. Like he knows how to play the game, conserve energy, not put himself in like compare it to somebody like Caden Goalie. You can say it's unlucky, but at some point it's just putting yourself in dangerous positions, being clumsy, not being aware. That's the opposite of Nick Suzuki. Like he's just hyper aware, hyper smart, and hyper strategic with how he uses his energy, how he positions himself, right? So I think what he learned at the Olympics is keep that, like don't change that. That is a good strength, but there are times where you do have to up your pace. And we have seen that, a little more speed bursts from him at key times of games. So, you hope that he did learn from being around all those great players at the Olympics. And I do expect he's going to have a strong end and they're going to need him, right? Like, to me, we had this, guys, you remember this debate that we had last year.
Yeah.
Most of you thought it wasn't as close, but to me, there was a real debate to be had as to who was Montreal's MVP last year. Was it Lane Hudson or Nick Suzuki? I still think the debate is good. Is it I think Lane Hudson might still be their MVP this year, but I'm curious what you guys think.
Yeah, I mean they're both in that category. I think you can't have one without the other, like for different reasons, obviously. I think that Hudson sort of drives a lot of the plays, but I mean, Suzuki is so cerebral. You're right. And even just to answer a couple of the comments I'm seeing in the chat here, I think that once they address the 2C spot, that'll alleviate the long shifts that he needs to take. And so that will go a long way in helping him in terms of not just his production, but being more efficient at doing what he does.
All right. A lot of great comments in that chat, by the way. So thanks, everybody, to do that. Let's go this way, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go that direction on the clash at this moment. Absolutely not allowed. 5 of them. And it's all about precision for the rest of the season. So it'll be easy. And let's see what we got here before we talk about the 4 games coming from Montreal. Montreal Canadiens, 100 points.
What are they at now? 76? 76. Okay, so
they have to finish with 11-9 to get. They have 78, I believe. No?
Oh, 78? Did I have 78? Let me see.
I don't have the stat in front of me. I can look about this. I did not check it.
Yeah, you're right. 78 points. That's a little bit easier.
So they need to go 11-9.
11-9, which is pretty much just 500. And you know what?
It takes 550. It would take 550 to get there.
Yeah, I didn't think it was possible, but I'm going to say absolutely. I think they have some games that are manageable, and they should get their wins there. But we'll see. But I think they can get very, very close to that, if not right on it. So I'll go with absolutely.
Is there a third option? Can I say they have to?
Exactly.
Like I say, if they don't, then they might not make the playoffs. I think it's going to be so tight to get in. So I'm gonna say absolutely. And they have to at least go 11-9. I think to really stay in the mix here. I don't know. Like what do you think the true cutoff is to make the playoffs this year in the East? Like last year, how much did they have? Like 90. They got 91 last year to get it.
96.
91.
91, I think. Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
I think it's going to be higher.
I think the cutoff is going to be
96 on the Western.
Yeah.
I think for me, if I have the guess for now, I go with 95.
To get in?
The cutoff?
Yeah.
Probably at least little bit higher.
Yeah, it could be like 95, 96. So,
the two teams that come under that will be in the Metropolitan probably.
Yeah. I'll say that. They'll do it, but so they 11-9 seems doable for sure. If they don't at least go 11, here's the best way to put it. If they don't go 11-9 down the stretch, they probably don't deserve to make the playoffs.
All right, let's move on. Caufield is going to get 50 goals, Mr. Marko.
Not at all. I think for sure, he's going to be hitting 40. That's.
But if it's not allowed, what would be your number he's going to reach? Example, just be.
Yeah. So I think he'll probably get to like 44, 45. I think he still has if he scores 1 goal every 3 games, I'll say low 40s, like 43 to 45 is where I think he'll land.
And after that, over 45 for him or 50?
Yeah, I think over 45. You know what? I've always said all year long he'll come under 50. But you know what? I get the feeling that as the opportunities come up and he gets closer and closer to it, they're going to feed him quite a bit to try to get that open net opportunities. 20 games, is it preposterous to say he's going to put in 13 goals in 20 games? I don't think so. Especially if he has a multi-goal game here and there.
He's already been on the heater now. He's already been on a heater for at least 15 games or whatever. So you just think it's at some point there's going to,
if they keep that line, you think with that line now, if they keep it with Slafkovsky there, I mean, I'm gonna go with absolutely. I think he does hit the 50, but it'll take the last game of the season.
It would be awesome if he could.
Yeah.
All right. I will go. You just miss it by 1 goal.
Oh.
They won't allow it. They won't allow it. They'll feed him. They'll feed him like he's never been fed before.
That's almost more painful to miss it by 1 goal. Yeah. I think it's better if he gets 45 than 49, to be honest. That's painful.
Nick Suzuki, 100 point.
Oh, boy. He's got, 74 now? 20 games.
I'm going to say not at all on that one.
No. I think just under. I think he's around 95, 96.
95, 96?
Yeah.
It'd be like right around like 92, 93 or something like that. A little bit more than
26 point and 20 game.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to.
He does 34 point and 62 game.
I don't think he'll do it.
Yeah, I know.
Games are going to get
all the way, man. 100 point for Suzuki.
That's it, Coach. Have faith.
You think things are going to tighten up a little here, though, going down the stretch, right?
They will.
Why not send 82 point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm down with that. Absolutely.
Also, here we go.
Yeah.
Last one. Juraj Slafkovský gets 70 point.
It's going to be close.
That's another 18 points in 20 games. It will be close, but I don't think he hits it. Just slightly under.
Slightly under for me, too.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Last one. Extra one. Ab playoff.
I knew you were going to go there. Well, if they get their act together, I mean, they can't falter down the stretch here. 20 games are critical here. They, you got now Columbus that's making noise. As Marco said, Ottawa's gotten themselves at least in a position where they don't have to jump over, 5 or 6 teams anymore. There's just Columbus and them. So
and Boston. Right?
And Boston. That's right. Yeah, that's right. My heart says yes, but I'm upset that they didn't make one move on defense to help them to get over that hurdle. So I don't know what to say. I'm going to say yes, but not confidently.
If they get, you already predicted that they'll get 100 points. So if they get 100 points, then they'll make it in. So I'm going to say for sure. Like I think Montreal will make the playoffs. So the good thing, guys, and that we haven't really talked about is I think Montreal is number 2 in the league of not losing more. Like they've only lost 3 games in a row once, and it was like in November or something like that, right? So they have been very consistent, not going through long stretches, not winning. So, I really didn't like their road trip, but hopefully they kind of turn it around. But yeah, my confidence level is still pretty high that they'll make the playoffs.
No doubt. They're going to make it easy. They're going to make it approximately at the game 78. So that's 4 game, maybe 5 game before the end of the season, guys. If you worry about Ottawa, guys, they are 7 points behind the Montreal Canadiens. They are
it's been more of a long shot. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but the
Columbus, guys, they are 5 points behind the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, but they play them 2 times.
And it's not easy to get there. And Montreal Canadiens have to play twice again then, I believe, again. Montreal Canadiens play more game for the rest of the season. Again, after they finish the next 2 games, again, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal Canadiens have only after that, I believe, 5 games for the rest of the season. Again, the Atlantic division, maybe 4. So it's going to be most of the game after they play San Jose and they play Anaheim. They only have two more games after that of the Western Conference. And then after that, they're going to get approximately 12 more games on the Metropolitan. So that will be really the Metropolitan. So the 4-point game is not going to be there too much. Other the fact it's going to be only Columbus. So for me, no doubt in my mind, Montreal is going to make it. And what will be interesting is going to be really Detroit, Boston. I think one of the two will fell apart at some point. And Montreal, the last 10 games are 6-1-3. Whatsoever you think you have a bad trip, no doubt. It's not a station for me. No one is station on that one. Finally, with that one, we have 4 games this week, Mr. Enortap and Mr. Marko. Very quickly, for the people in the chat, that's the last subject. We have other things, but we're going to move on. Toronto, Ottawa, Anaheim, San Jose. Marko, number the point they're going to get. You can be like this plus, but what will be, or also what will be the really close, what you're looking for, what you'll be happy about?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it's tough, right? Because, so again, they're wrapping up this road trip, and then, there's the game coming back from a long road trip. That's always kind of a bit scary. And then again, 3 out of the 4 teams they're playing are playing very, very good hockey right now. So I'm gonna be conservative, and I'll say that they get 4 out of 8 points in this next stretch here. So they at least have to be 500. So I'll say 500. They go 500. They beat Toronto. I think Ottawa is probably really gonna give them a tough time because they're playing really well. And then I'm gonna say they should be able to get one of either Anaheim and San Jose. So I'll go 4 out of 8.
6 points for Pete Martin, 5 for N26 and Enortap.
I'm going with 6. Keep it very simple. I think that they have to capitalize with these games here. It's not to say that Anaheim, Ottawa, or San Jose is an easy get, but I think that Montreal usually bodes well against Ottawa. They play very well against them, and Anaheim and San Jose,
Ottawa beat them last time, right?
Last time, yeah. But I think with Anaheim and San Jose, I mean, those 2 games could have gone either way, and probably we could have been talking about a different story altogether. So I think, and 3 of these games are at home as well, so that should make a difference. So 6 for me.
All right.
Coach is going to go with 8.
Coach is very positive.
My glasses?
7.
You want my glasses, Coach?
7.
Okay, that's it.
7. I believe 7 on that one. I go high, but I think you nailed it very well. I think they have it's not like a difficult schedule, or the effect is a back-to-back game. You're right. So now I said 7. I should say, well, Montembeau's coming. But I will give him a break to Montembeau about that one with that. I want to share it with you, Marko and Enortap. Columbus Blue Jacket, Washington, Boston, Montreal, Buffalo, Detroit, Carolina, Boston, Montreal, Islanders, Kraken, Carolina, Tampa Bay, this way. So the Kings, Columbus, all right? The Kings, Flyers, Rangers, Flyers, Sharks, maybe, Jets. That's it. So 6 of the next 20 games are the playoff, are the team are not the playoff. The Sharks, they are. So the schedule of Columbus guy, it's not easy. Yeah, they have to play Carolina 3 times.
I don't know if I know that people look at the strength of schedule just based on who's over and under the playoff cut line, but it's more complicated than that. It's who's playing well right now. That's why I'm a little bit nervous about the 4 games, because we just saw Anaheim and San Jose, and they're like Anaheim's losing right now against St. Louis, but overall Anaheim's playing some really good hockey. They're going to be inspired. They're going to have John Carlson in their lineup. We saw what happened with San Jose. Like Celebrini is just next level, like crazy. And like I said, I'm a little bit nervous. So I don't know if I buy into strength of schedule because lots of things, teams can be playing better now than they were earlier. And I don't know.
But look at the last 6 games, guys. The Columbus, the last 6 games, I know they have before that, but they get point, but they are only 3-3 in the last 6 games. But honestly, they are 3-1-2. To get 1 point. I don't see the inconsistency to win. Every time they win or they lose by 1 overtime, they not dominate over the fact they dominate on one game by 2 goals. If you look about all those games, they have one good stretch when they was the new change, the goal, the new. But the last, since they are back from Olympics, guys, 3-2, 4-2, lose 5-4, they lose 4-3, and the third period, guys. If you want to have an excited hockey game, guys, go watch in Columbus the third period.
That's right. They have
watch this guy. Is a basketball game where the flip number is changing every time, like the scoreboard. That's Columbus. Columbus guy is the most. I write for them, so I know exactly what's going on. They lose or they win at the last third period. It's crazy to say that, but we'll see what's happening, guys, over there. Good news about this week. We're going to see again Celebrini and Carlson. For me to see the superstar like that, it's fun to see that, and it will be interesting about that. So, hey, long time ago we didn't see you, my friend. Long time. And hopefully see you again very soon. And hopefully everything looking good. And after, I want to add something.
Just very quick question. Any chance, we've been talking about Columbus, but any chance that it's either the Islanders or Pittsburgh that flounders down the stretch and it doesn't make the playoffs, in your opinion?
I don't see the Islanders floundering. Like I think I like what they've been doing and solid goaltending. We know the risk with Pittsburgh, right? Like, but Crosby's he was going to be out 4 weeks or whatever. So I think he's going to be back in a week and a half if everything holds. So Pittsburgh has surprised.
Big win today, Pittsburgh, guys. Big win. This is a huge win. Confidence about that. Yeah. This is the first time since 2001, I believe. I could be wrong. They come back with 3 goals without Malkin and Crosby in the lineup.
They've been doing it with smokes and mirrors. I don't know how they do it, but very well coached team. If they do make the playoffs, we know who's going to be winning Coach of the Year. I think for sure. So,
damn news will be interesting about that. Nobody knew who he was. Nick Crosby said, "Who? 2 times before he knew who he was." Mr. Enortap, it was a pleasure to work with you with the red light. I'm going to bother you on the weekend with you.
Likewise.
Negative. Say, Marko, Enortap is negative about Montreal Canadiens. I cannot believe it. You have to follow him. You're going to shock your head. So what's going on with him? With Enortap, negative about the Montreal Canadiens all week. We have to calm down. We put him on the timeout on the moderator. I said, run, put him on the timeout. He's bothering everybody in the chat right now with his negativity, Mr. Marko. But it's fine.
6 points. 6 points.
I'm going to tell him at the end of the year, I was right again, Marko, because he don't believe he's going to make the playoff. So,
no, I didn't say that. I said I'm worried. I didn't say that they wouldn't make it. I just said I'm worried because they didn't address the critical part of
what he said, Marko. He said in the chat they're not going to make the playoff because he not to make any trade on that one. Anyhow, Marko, was a pleasure to work with you. I can wait to see you next time. We wish you the best, and hopefully everything's fine with your family and the dog. And Mr. Enortap, was a pleasure to see you the Sunday night. Next week we are off because we have the game, San Jose.
Yeah.
So going to get back during the week and follow us, guys, on baseball and everything else. Marko, we'll see you next time. And after that, we wish you an amazing, great week. Hopefully everything will smell. And I can wish you next time. Have a good one, everybody.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Good night, everyone.
It was Marko and Enortap, guys. We extend the show tonight. We don't see Marko enough, to be honest with you. He's busy with other projects. and glad to see work with him. He's always been a great host with us on the panel for the Hockey Nation for many years now. And what about Enortap, the GOAT, the Hall of Famer Enortap, the man of the Hockey Nation, and without you guys in the chat tonight, it would be impossible. We have a great time. Hopefully you enjoy it. We don't do a lot of Montreal Canadiens show because we do other things. Tomorrow night, we're going to go baseball, hockey, baseball, hockey this week. And I cover the morning, I cover the night. And the morning is tomorrow morning. After that, it's over. We move to we move in the USA. So I can't wait to see all of you the next time, guys. And glad to see all of you with the Hockey Nation show. And the only reason we passed the 11,700 subscriber, guys, unbelievable, is because you are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you. Exactly, have greatness inside of you. We wish you an amazing, great week. Be well, be healthy. Find a way not only to donate your day, but find a way to donate the first half of what? Someone said 2026. Canada 3, Panama 4. The beginning of the 9th inning. Don't miss it. Maybe something to watch. Until the next time, my friend, we wish you an amazing, great night. And of course, the Hockey Nation, the Habs Nation, and the Baseball Nation, and all the animals of the kingdom of the Thailand want to tell you one more thing. We love you, friends. Thanks so much, everybody. Appreciate a lot, Mr. RJ Calabro and Luc Laforson. Thanks so much. With you. Thanks so much. And booyah!